And even if it's new people every week, it's just, it's you connect with the people who know and go through the same things that you do as writers. And you know what, even when it's a brand new friendship, it's like, you're my people. You understand.
Absolutely.
So always look forward to Saturday night, Sunday morning with us.
There you go.
Yeah. I know that when I started, it was kind of like there was no resources out there to get you started. Now there's people have worked out that it's not a competition. We're not in competition with everybody. It's like, you know, you can learn from everyone. There's something that you can take away from every experience that you get. I think that's one of the things that I'm drawn to anthologies because of that reason, is that you learn so much from the variety of authors that you're writing with, and it helps you grow.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and the market's ever changing. It doesn't matter if you're an old dog who started in the early 2000s or if you're just starting now. The market's constantly expanding, constantly changing, and you've got to keep up with the times.
Absolutely. I mean, the one thing that I do find is a staple in the industry would be that no matter what, I always keep coming back to the paranormal. It's like I love my paranormal and my fantasy, and it seems to be that that's the biggest audience out there when it comes to the market, you know, and I keep coming back to it because that's where my roots are. That's where I love to write and I love to read it.
Well, and they say, you know, you write what you want to read. So
absolutely.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Joe says romance and horror too. Yeah, romance is always.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And horror. And hello, Anita.
All that.
Always nice to see our regulars in the chat. So we should probably introduce everybody. Hey guys, I know we've been off for, was it 2 weeks that we were off? Or did we?
No, I think it was, I don't know.
1 week?
Maybe.
Because I was at Comic-Con last week.
The last time I was here, I was very sick. So it could have been.
Right, that's right. Are you feeling better?
Yes.
Okay.
No more stomach flu.
All right.
A little lighter, but no more stomach flu.
I'm the opposite because I went completely off the wagon this week. I've eaten nothing but junk food, so all of my dieting has gone to waste. Gotta get back on it. All right, so hey guys, welcome to another episode of Spilling Ink. We are the talk show that takes you behind the book to meet authors and professionals in the publishing industry. You know me, Katie Salidas, and Jane. Let's talk to our new people. So I'm gonna do a eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Melissa.
Yeah.
Hi there. Introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your writing.
Okay, so I'm Melissa. I'm from Brisbane, Australia. I started writing back in, I think it was about 2013. It was brought on by, I needed some kind of a release. I had been working for an abusive boss and I needed some way to get that out of my system. And so I quit my job.
Lucky.
And took some time to gather my thoughts and everything. And I said to my partner, because she said to me, you know, work out what you want to do and figure it out. I'll support you no matter what. So I started to write. My first stories were written on my iPhone in my notes. So I started to write and I'd managed to get down around about 4 chapters. And I said, you know, can you read it and tell me what you think? And it was like she was blown away by it. She turned around and she said, you need to publish this. You need to finish it and publish it. So that started it off. And it was my first book that I wrote was called Destiny's Fate. And it's about all the gods that have long been forgotten, but it's like destiny is blind, and then there's Morpheus. There's, you know, like all the death is one of them. I just fell into it and I just loved it. And then I kind of went, okay, I'll go for some shifters because I
There
like
you go.
shifters. So I thought, well, I'll give that a try. And so I did one that was called Houston. And so I made that one a shifter, and there's brothers. It's called Five Brothers, but there's more than five brothers. Their security is what it's called, Five Brothers Security. So they're a security team. And basically their father was, a bit of a slut, and he got around, and he was cursed by a witch in New Orleans, so that he then became this wolf shifter because of the way that he treated her daughter. So every offspring that he had ended up cursed from the time he was 21 on. So it's set here in Australia. So it was I put parts in there where I grew up and things like that. So for people who are kind of like, oh wow, like people who've read it that live here are like, oh, I know exactly where that is. So it's kind of like there's people who I went to school with that ended up reading my books, loving them, and I just grew from there. And then I did some anthologies, and I've expanded, but I usually go back to my vampires, my shifters, and my gods. So what else can I say? When I started, it was all brand new. I had to learn everything because I couldn't afford to pay someone to do it. So I had to learn how to do all my own formatting, my covers, everything. And it was a great experience to do that and to have that accomplishment. My shifters book I think it was the second week of publishing, I ended up in between Anne Rice and Dean Kunst.
Ooh,
I made it to I made it to number 3.
That's awesome.
That is
amazing.
Like, oh my goodness, look at who I'm with.
Screenshotting that for sure.
I know everything. So I've got them in my file to say that I did get that far. So it was really encouraging at the time because I kind of went, wow, they've got names. And my name's in the middle of them. So
and there I am.
Exactly. I actually made the page.
It's the little things that make us happy, I swear.
It is. And then you get those the reviews that come in, and you're kind of like, oh wow. How humbling is that? You hear how someone has read your book and that they have really enjoyed it enough to turn around and get the entire series is kind of like, and then they're waiting for the next one. It really warms you, like internally you're kind of like, oh, it touches you.
It does. Well, that's all we want. We want someone to read our work.
Absolutely. And I mean, that's the ultimate, like if you want to say thank you to an author, it's like leave a review.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be a lot either. Like people think reviews have to be these big long things. I loved the book. Thanks. Done. Day made.
It's like I leave reviews. I have actually had one situation where I left a review. I had bought a book and it was one that I couldn't finish because of the way that it was written. And I simply put on the review that I couldn't get past the second chapter and it just wasn't for me. But that's my opinion only. And I tell you what, they went at me like you wouldn't believe.
But I'm the author?
I'm a writer, but I'm also a reader. So
that's like one of the big faux pas. You never, ever, ever respond, good or bad, to your reviews.
Yeah. And it wasn't actually the person that had written the book that responded. It was their cover artist. Yeah. So go figure.
Right. We're gonna have to circle back to that because we'll talk about that in a second. But we've got another author that we've got to let her introduce herself and tell us a little bit about her work. I hear you have a book coming out very shortly.
Yes, so I'm Nicole, and I write under the pen names N.D.T, Casale, and N.D.T, and I live in the United States on the East Coast, and I write fantasy and mystery books. So I'm a new author. So next in 3 weeks, I have my first novel coming out that I'm self-publishing. I've been published before, but most of my publications, all my publications have been in short story anthologies. So I started getting published last year in short story anthologies. And it's been a really awesome experience being part of anthologies and getting to connect with other authors. And I agree with what Melissa was saying, how there really hasn't been a lot of resources out there for self-published authors, and now there is. And networking has been really awesome because I've been writing my whole entire life, and I always wanted to be a published author, but I didn't realize that could come true until like now. So I started querying agents back in like 2018, 2019, and getting lots of rejection letters. And I had one agent that, wrote me a nice message saying how a great way to get published would be to like put yourself out there and have people get to know who you are, get to know your writing, which left it a little bit vague because I was like, how do I do that? So how do I put myself out there when no one knows like my works or anything like that? So I was on Instagram. I loved Instagram, and I ended up somehow just through searching stumbling upon these like follow trains. It was called like a Write a Christmas 2019 to connect other authors. So I participated in that, and through that I was able to find a bunch of authors, self-published authors to connect with, and I connected with one who's still a good friend of mine today. Her name is Jennifer Crumpf. She's in Canada, and she invited me to be part of her Facebook group, which I didn't even know they had author Facebook groups or like book Facebook groups back then. So I was a part of it, and there was another author. Her name is Alice Ivinia from England. She had commented on there how she had a charity anthology she was doing, and she was looking for authors to submit stories about mythical water creatures. And it was like no cost to the author because she had like the cover and everything, and all the works were going for charity. And I was like, oh, this could be my opportunity to like get published, get myself out there. So I reached out to her, and I was like, I'm not published, but I do have a story. Like could I be a part of it? And she definitely took a risk on me, which I'll be forever grateful for, and allowed me to be a part of the anthology without me ever being published at all. And it was called Enchanted Waters. And I was there with like 9 other authors who all had other works and were other published. And I was like, and no one knew who I was, and I was so nervous. But I ended up making a lot of great friends and learning a lot. And through that, I was able to be a part of other anthologies throughout the year. And then I finally decided to take the leap this year to publish my own book. So I'm doing, like Melissa said, I'm doing everything myself. I'm learning the formatting, which YouTube is currently my best friend because I'm struggling with formatting right now. I'm lucky to have a wonderful friend who has a PhD in literature who's been helping me edit my stories. And I paid for the cover designer. That's the only thing I've really paid for because I don't know how to make my own covers yet, but I would love to learn. So this has been like a really good experience, and I'm really excited to see everything come together and just be a part of it. And I'm also like really nervous because I'm getting to that point where it's like my book is out in the world. So people are going to be writing reviews and telling me how they like it. And I really hope they like it. So it's just, I'm really happy to be a part of this and be learning so much because I always wanted, to be an author and have my books out into the world. And it's exciting that people are finally going to get to read them.
Yeah, nothing like being a fresh author on the scene. You have so much to do, so much to learn. We should all share some of our advice that we have learned over the years.
I would probably say that even now, if it's the 20th book that I published or the 30th, as soon as I hit publish, I get those butterflies that you're going to have.
Yes.
It's always going to happen.
Yes.
So don't panic. You're not alone. Everybody has the same sense. Everybody questions their story, their ability to satisfy the reader. They're going to do all of that every single time. And I think, honestly, if you don't, then stick a pin in your arm and make sure you're not dreaming. It's like
You stopped caring if the nerves are gone.
Yes.
It's that nervous going on stage feeling, and
Yeah.
you're always going to have it. It's
The
always
scariest words are, so I just read your book, followed by
Yeah.
the pause.
Yeah.
3 days later, you're still holding your breath.
I know. It's like,
That's why you don't read the
Waiting for
reviews.
that first review to go up, and you're kind of like, what's it going to say?
oh my
Or
God.
every time. So don't think that that you're any different from anyone else that's publishing.
Yes.
You are exactly like us.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm happy to be a part of it.
I've gotten to the churn and burn stage. Turn published. Okay. Well, now I'm sort of. I'm trying to gear up for our release on the 4th.
Mm-hmm.
I decided to do a 3-day release party in my group, like an idiot.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to be a part of it.
Yep. So it's just like, okay, now I'm trying to do the graphic. Yes, Rituals and Runes is coming out on the 4th. Also, Tainted Mind is coming out on the 4th.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Wow, you're going to be busy.
She's always busy.
So, I'm trying to get that done. So I'm not really writing right now, but I have the story that I think I'm going to do next going on in my head. So hopefully.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But from a newbie perspective, the one thing that I did horribly wrong is as a new writer, this is before I even, got a publisher, is I was querying.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what a query letter was.
Oh,
And
no.
I'm a business, I'm in business. So I framed it like a business letter, saying who I was, not my story. Oh, yes.
Yeah, I'm learning about querying too.
I was like, oh no. And somebody, introduced me to a writing group at the time, and they helped me understand.
And that's the thing.
Like, oh my God, what an idiot I was.
It's the community. We all have found the community in one way or another, and we've all learned through our shared failures and successes.
Yes.
Absolutely. I have been, I think the one that I'm doing now, the Rituals and Runes, I think that must be about my maybe 8th anthology with Gina.
Okay.
I think it dates back to, I think my first one with her was back in 2014.
Okay.
Around about there. And so every so often I've, sort of noticed that, because I'm in a group that does the anthologies, that she'll post and I'll go, oh yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that. So she is a phenomenal person to
she's amazing.
She knows how to run it. She is all about getting everything done properly.
Anybody she's like the organizational queen.
Yeah. How does she do it?
Her and Christina. It's like definitely. But I would definitely suggest if if you're looking at getting experience and getting your name out there, honestly, I'd be looking for one of Gina's, even if it's just one of those $35 or $55 ones, just to get you into a place where you're getting to meet authors who write in the same genre that you want to write in, and just to get the experience, because the experience is absolutely priceless. When it's done with Gina, you learn so much compared to other anthologies that I've been in. You don't get what you get when you sign up with Gina.
Yeah, I love Gina. She's awesome.
Rebekah and Gina were. Rebekah doesn't do them very often anymore. But
no, but I'm also part of her readers and writers group. The Six Figure and all the rest of it. So I get a lot of stuff from her, and also J.A. Culligan. is also part of Rebekah's group as well, she's an offshoot from that, but they are my go-tos, I was
going to say, this is, if I'm going to be in an anthology, those are the people that I'll reach out to.
Absolutely. Yeah,
it's been years since I've done one, because I used to do, as I was telling Katie, I think it was at the same time we were in one together, but I stopped and focused on my writing. But now I'm just like, I want the exposure again.
Mhm.
Because
Yep.
it is a good exposure.
Absolutely.
Whether you make a list or not,
Mhm.
you're still getting your books
You're
out
learning.
in readers'
Mhm.
hands.
Yeah.
Marketing changes,
Mhm.
daily. So you're learning marketing from people who have the skills that you might not have.
Mhm.
You
Yep.
guys are sharing skills, so you're giving your book a leg
Absolutely.
up, more exposure. Gina has a system. I mean, she really shows you what to do, when to do, and
Yeah.
how to do. So you're learning on,
Mhm.
the best way possible. You're learning on the job.
Yeah,
Right.
Gina is awesome. I've this is my second anthology with her. I did Forever Tales with her last year, which came out around the same time as the other Enchanted Waters that I did. And she's another one that took me onto her anthologies, and I wasn't published yet. And then she let me be a part of Rituals and Ruins, and I signed up for another one for hers next year. It was like Casting and Curses, because I really admired her
I
organizational
saw that one
style.
advertised. Yeah.
Yes,
Ooh.
and I signed up for that one. I
Nice.
just think she just does an awesome job, and I learned so much from her. And she really kind of pushes me, because when she was giving tasks, she told me to do takeovers. I was like, I don't know how to do a takeover. What is that? And she's like,
About to learn.
you're gonna learn. You want to
Yeah.
you want to be an author.
Yeah.
This is what you're gonna have to do. And
Right.
I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'll do
Yeah.
it. So
And that pushes you out of your comfort zone too. And
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes you get into a comfortable position and you
Mhm.
stagnate. So when
Yeah.
you're pushed
Yeah.
into doing something that's maybe not as comfortable, maybe not, something you're excited about doing, but it works,
Mhm.
that gives you the motivation. It teaches you that skill and how to do it right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just looking. I'm in the Shadows and Sorcery one in 2024. that
Okay.
she
Oh,
did.
there's one.
So,
I didn't see that one.
yeah, that one's coming. I don't know if she's done it wide yet, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, see, and that's another thing with the whole
I was like,
community
where's the sign
aspect.
up for that one?
If you don't know where to sign up for an anthology, ask the community, ask people, authors that you trust, who they work with.
Yeah.
We'll tell you if they're good or bad. We'll
Yeah.
tell you them.
And if they say, oh, I saw this from so and so, and we know to run like hell, we will tell you.
Absolutely. There's one that Gina puts all of her anthologies in when she's advertising.
Yes.
And that's the one that I go to. I'm really wary of any of the others.
Yes.
But when Gina posts in that group, you know that it's authentic, it's happening, and she gives you all the details of what's required for that, the amount that you have to pay for the buy-in. So there's never any questions. It's like you just read it for what it is and say, yep, I'll be in that, and you get the link and go for it.
Now,
It's like,
on the flip side
other
too,
people leave
there's
out
accountability.
Yeah.
and a lot of the time you don't get all of the information, and so you're kind of like, oh yeah, I'll sign up for that, and then you find out that it's like it's a $400 job,
Right.
and you're kind of like, hang on a minute, like
wait, whoa,
no.
yeah.
Stop. So
Yeah.
it's whereas everything when Gina puts hers in, it's like it's got the whole list of how many words, when it's due, the amount that you're paying for the buy-in, what the buy-in's being paid for, whether it's the cover and all the rest of it. And so it's just she just runs the best, I reckon,
Yes.
out of
She really
everyone.
does.
Yeah.
It goes both ways too. Not only does she run it well, but the accountability of if you sign up and you don't do your job, you're not going to get invited back.
No,
Right.
So that ensures that everybody's doing what they're supposed to do, which gives you the better chances for success with that anthology.
Yeah. And you'll find too that I've noticed that over the various anthologies that I've done with Gina is that there's different roles or tasks that you get because someone else has taken that task. And so you've got to look and say, okay, well, I've never done that one before, but all right, I'll be in it. So, like you do learn all those, the wider variety of tasks in regards to the book bub swaps, the newsletter swaps, just everything.
Right.
You're always learning something. And what you don't know, there's someone in there that does know about it and they're happy to teach you or guide you through the process. So I think that's it does make a really good team environment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Really get that on the job training, like an apprenticeship, instead
Yeah.
of just being thrown to the wolves.
Yeah.
Yes, good.
If you don't do your job, you're fired.
Yep.
But also, like, going back to the releasing your first book, I released my first book. It was, I think, the very beginning of 2010. I made every mistake you could.
I know.
Costly mistakes. And I learned from those lessons, but I had to learn the hard way because I can't do anything the easy way.
Yeah.
School of hard knocks.
I
Yeah.
had a publisher that year, but the publisher said they had editors, but they really didn't.
It was like a committee kind of thing. I liked that publisher for how it allowed us to get our books out there. That was a good experience working with them.
Yes.
And it again, it built that community. We all were friends. We were all buddies because we all swapped out different things. Some of us could format, some of us could edit, some of us could do cover art. That was where Wilson was.
Yep. Yep. Exactly.
So we were swapping services in order to make,
Yep.
make books the best.
Exactly.
I'm really lucky in that I've got a little money spider that just kind of hung from my computer.
That's okay. Kill it.
Hopefully that will bring me some good luck. So when I first started, I was using Windows. I was using Microsoft. That made things so hard.
I'm using Microsoft right now to format.
So I did that for because what made it so difficult was that it had to be done so many different ways to go wide. Now it's not quite so hard because you've got the likes of N.D.T, who you upload the EPUB and it goes wide for you. Whereas before, when we started, it was like if you wanted to do wide, you had to do a different format for every single platform.
Because you had to upload separately. You couldn't upload the mobile.
We had Smashwords.
Huh?
We did. We had Smashwords with the meat grinder.
Yes.
The meat grinder used to come back, I don't know how many times and say, "Uh-oh."
I have cursed my computer out so many times. Why isn't it working? Just accept the file.
I mean, I use Calibri.
Done everything. It's like
yes.
I've moved over to I use Mac products now.
Okay.
So Apple products. So I was really blessed that about 3 years ago, my wife bought me Vellum, which is a really schmick program if you've got
That's awesome.
Mac. Unfortunately, they don't do it for anything else but Mac. It's a Mac program, but I tell you what, it is sweet if you can. If you happen to have a Mac and you're looking to publish, it is a well worth the product purchase. I have not had to. It's a lifetime purchase, I believe, because every so often I upgrade it, and I don't have to pay any money because I bought the original. But it grows, and now Vellum has actually got Grammarly in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of like it makes it difficult for me because I'm in Australia. We use British English.
Yes.
So for me, with Word wants me to use British English, whereas when it comes to Vellum, I can now use American English, so that my book is now completely formatted. Everything's ready to go. And it just makes life so much easier than trying to format it in using Word document.
I've gotten Word down so well that
Word is it was never designed for writing and publishing. So I'd strongly suggest that if you do have a Mac, look into getting Vellum, or find a friend who's got vellum
Yeah.
and say, hey, I'll do this for you if you do this for me. So it's like, if someone wants to proofread a book for me, I'm happy to do their formatting and send it back to them. Like that kind of thing.
There's
and I
also
think,
Atticus, which is a
yes,
new player on the
on the Windows.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's a web browser based,
Okay.
and it has limited functionality. It's
Uh-huh.
not horrible. It's not as user friendly as Draft to Digital makes it, but
Mhm.
it does come up with something prettier than what Draft to Digital does.
Right.
Draft to Digital will
Okay.
give you a generic.
Yep.
This allows you to play with some of the settings. It isn't as intuitive as I would like,
Mhm.
but as a mid ground for a newer author who's on a budget, who doesn't want to spend too much and still have software that they can play with,
Yeah.
I would look at Atticus. The
Yes.
other contender, if you're willing to learn InDesign, there is a clone Affinity Publisher, $50 one-time buy. No need to subscribe to any of the Adobe products. It is an Adobe clone, so it works very similarly to InDesign, and you can learn to format like they do for actual, publishing houses. But that one is not user friendly at all. Like you really have a learning curve on that.
I have
Once you get it down, you'll be fine.
I have them
So
both.
I got a question for all of you lovely ladies in regards to wide versus KDP. Where does everyone sit on that?
Wide.
Wide.
I'm over KDP.
I'm still learning. I know why. I know
no
KDP. I'm familiar with them. I don't really know how anyone works. I know KDP is like the Kindle Unlimited, I think.
Yeah.
In Amazon. Right now, I'm just publishing my book through Amazon, but eventually I want to learn wide. So I bought my own ISBNs, which I'm using for my book. Because one of my author friends told me to do that if you plan on going wide. I don't know how to go wide yet. So right now I'm just publishing it on Amazon, but eventually I want to learn to go wide. I'm not sure exactly how to do that.
Is you're going to want to go there.
Okay.
Okay.
That's the easiest one. That is an aggregator, so they will get your book out to multiple channels with one upload. They pay you based on when they get paid, minus a 10% fee for running the site. So it's a good way to get out as wide as possible with as little effort. Another one you might want to look into is Publish Drive. They handle a lot more of the European market, from what I understand. Very similar. It's an aggregator, so you upload it and you work with their system. But Draft to Digital is where you want to start first.
And I upload directly. I upload to iTunes, Kobo, Google Play.
You always make life hard, though.
Barnes & Noble and iTunes.
Wow.
N.D.T. Yeah. So D2D is all the, Overdrive and the library stuff. And then I do directly because I get the extra 5% or something.
Lots of those here for wide in the audience.
Yep. I mean, I've been all in. Yeah. Yes. Actually, I've done D2D, and then I decided I wanted to do it directly because I couldn't get into some of the Kobo.
The advertising stuff.
The advertising things. I wanted to have advertising opportunities, so I do it direct.
So always do Amazon direct, even though Draft to Digital will give you the option. Always go direct with Amazon.
Yep.
Always go like that. That way you can do the advertising should you need to, because Amazon is prickly about that. I think Barnes & Noble is too.
Yeah, I do my paperbacks at Barnes & Noble and on Amazon, and I don't do the extended distribution through Amazon because I do Barnes & Noble too direct.
And Lightning Source or Ingram Spark is pissing off a lot of indies lately. Like I know they feel like they're too big to fail, but they are pissing off a lot of indies. I keep hearing a lot of complaints. A lot of they don't want to distribute through them anymore, especially when all of the other channels out there are offering better customer service. People you can actually call and talk to when you have a problem.
Right. Right.
Are you talking as in Ingram Spark, did you say? Okay. Yeah, I only use Ingram Spark for paperback publishing for when I'm doing my, like you're doing book fairs.
Yeah.
So because it doesn't matter that way, they're buying them directly from you. You get them delivered to you. It's the cheapest option for me being here in Australia, is to go through them. but I don't publish through them, so therefore I don't have to provide, and because they don't provide you with any ISBNs or anything like
Right.
that. It's like you have to purchase your own. That can run into big dollars when you've got, a wide catalog of books.
Yeah,
whereas,
I don't purchase my own ISBNs.
Yeah,
That's,
I don't either.
That's because I'm like, I'm doing all this other stuff.
Where do you get your ISBNs from?
You can, if you look online, you can look them up as to purchasing the ISBNs, and you can usually buy them in hundreds or thousands, or they usually have package deals.
Yeah.
They're quite costly.
Yes.
Whereas when you sign up for, say, D2D, you can have a ISBN that they allocate you.
Yes.
Means you don't have to pay for it. It's a free one.
Right.
Oh, cool.
Right.
So
and Barnes and Noble does the same thing for paperbacks.
How do you
Amazon
upload
does
onto Barnes and Noble?
They have their own site, and I can send you the link to it after.
Yes, please.
So,
Yes, please.
But yeah, it's going direct with them. I mean, it was a bonus that iTunes opened it up to non-Mac users. It's like, yes, I can load up to it. But
I don't have a Mac either. I just have an HP.
Yeah. So it's just like, yes, I can finally do that and not use the aggregator to get onto iTunes. So, but it takes time. And if you decide to go from wide to KU for your whole thing, and then get out of it and go wide, it is a real pain in the ass to do it all. And I think I told you, Katie, that if I ever decide to go all in on Kindle Unlimited, beat me to a death.
Yeah.
One title is fine, or one series is fine, but not all 68 books. So, yeah.
Yeah. Plus, you have full control. I mean, I get it, and that's the whole point of being an indie, is to have full publishing control of your books. So that you don't have to use an aggregator. You can go direct with each channel and have full control, have full advertising capabilities, because each channel apparently wants to control that.
Yeah, wants to have you sign up directly so they can, offer you stuff and then, whatnot. So, but lately the Kobo stuff hasn't been bringing in the stuff like it used to. But there's a lot of things that are like that.
Yeah. But yes, and for those who don't know, Smashwords did buy Draft to Digital. So they're merging together. So we don't have to worry about the meat grinder anymore, because everybody knows Smashwords was better. Or not Smashwords, Draft to Digital's conversion software was so much better.
Yes. Yes.
You can just throw the meat grinder out the window.
I think part of the reason why I left Smashwords was because they had they were advertising that they were going to go on board with Amazon for like 5 years or something. And then I turned around and went, well, when's this supposed to happen? It's like it never seemed to come to anything. And then all of a sudden we had Draft to Digital, D2D, and I just went, oh, okay, I'll go to them because they've got Amazon on there. So I'm lazy. I just do the one upload to the, to Draft Digital, and I just let them do everything else. So I like the fact that I get paid monthly, not every 3 months from Amazon, because that money that you earn this month can pay for stuff that you want for your books next month.
Yeah.
And whereas otherwise, when you're sitting there waiting for Amazon, it's like you've got to wait 3 months to get your money.
Ooh.
It used to be that. I'm not sure what it is now.
I think it still is.
Is it?
Well, you get paid monthly, but it's 2 months
in arrears. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's kind of like it makes it really hard. And because if you publish in different areas, it's like for you to get the money from the UK, there's got to be more than $100 worth of sales in the UK.
Okay.
And then if you want money from Canada and you've listed them in Canada, there's got to be $100 or more of sales in Canada.
Oof.
So it made it really hard because even though you're selling these books, you might only earn like $80 to get that UK amount. And you're thinking, okay, so I'm going to have to wait until next month when it adds up to the rest.
Mhm.
So you're not getting it every single month.
Right.
So you're really only getting the US every single month because the rest of the countries
they
don't
take forever to
that.
aggregate enough to actually
Mhm.
qualify for the release.
Exactly. So, and when you're first starting out, that makes it quite difficult.
Oh, it does.
Yes, it does.
It does.
Yeah.
So, there's also there's a really good group that I have not long ago joined. It's done by, I can't remember his name now, but it's called 20 Books to 50K.
Oh, yes, I'm part of that group.
Yeah. Phenomenal information.
Craig Martell.
Sorry?
That's
Craig
his name.
Martell.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember. I went blank. But it's amazing, the information that goes into the posts on that group. Well worth checking it out and joining up.
Yeah,
There's steps that you have to do, like to actually be able to post in there. You have to go through, the programs and things like that. But it doesn't cost you anything. So it's all learning. So it tells you, like that as to your best way to make money is to frequently publish and to have it
publish,
kind of, like he published, I think it was every 5 weeks. And so that the book 1, book 2, book 3, it's kind of like they're just constantly have an overturn because there's new people finding out about it, and they have there's someone just posted saying that they've just had, or they're having a conference.
November. Yeah, it's in November. Yeah.
So and I mean, they've got live streams they've got it on YouTube as well that you can watch their information from a variety of different authors who've got various different experience in all kinds of things. So if you're looking for just a starting point to learn some stuff from people who've been there and are now quite successful, that's a great place to start.
And that's a lot of indie authors, which is fantastic. The group I learned from, Backspace.org, they're not anymore, but that was back, in the 2000s, 2000 up until like 2012, 2013, I think they disbanded, but that was all traditional authors. So, I've gotten the flavor of both. So it was nice that's how I know Jonathan.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yes. Yeah. So, somebody was nice enough to, from Connecticut,
take you under the wing and show you the ropes.
And she said, "Oh, check out this group. This is when we were on MySpace."
Oh my God.
Okay.
Oh,
that dates me. And yes, my hair is white for a reason. But yeah, so that group taught me everything. That's where I learned, the error of my ways in the agent soliciting.
Do you have that old query letter?
No, I don't think I do. I think I burned it. I think I burned it.
I'll give you that.
It was total embarrassment.
Hey, you gotta have at least some horrible failures to laugh at down the road.
Yeah, and they were brutal on feedback on writing. They were absolutely brutal. They hold no punches back, and I developed such thick skin from them.
So that's who turned you into the bitch with the red pen. Yes. Bravo.
Yep. Yeah. They did not hold back, and they made me a better writer. So
no, that's good. That's good.
I think that's something to keep in mind too, is that where you were saying that they were quite, full on with their their information and their critiques, is that that's something for all new authors to keep in mind, is that everybody's going to have that, you can't make everybody happy with your writing. There's always going to be that one person or two people who just go, yeah, this one's not for me, or I couldn't get into this book, or whatever they're going to say.
That's being nice.
And but, basically what you have to do as a new author is you have to toughen your skin up. But someone, I can't remember who it was, said to me in the beginning, it might have even been Gina, that turned around and said to me, take those, the lower stars, or the ones that are not so flattering, and turn them around and use that information to be better next time. Get better at your craft. Don't take it on as a negative. Take it on as a learning experience so that you can grow as an author. And the other thing that I worked out too is that you'll find that over the years, the people who grow as authors, you will find that 9 times out of 10, they're readers as well.
Oh, yeah. I'm an avid reader.
Absolutely. In their downtime, they will read whatever they can get their hands on. I often get books that are sent out from where I've signed up for people's mailing lists, and there'll be other people on the bottom of the list saying, oh, this one's a freebie, and I'll go, oh, okay, I'll have a freebie. I love freebies. And so I'll get a freebie, and I have found some of my favorite authors through those freebies that come out in newsletters. So I'm a reader. I started reading long before I started writing. I always wanted to write, but it's even after I started writing, it's kind of like I go back every chance I get and I read, because that helps me grow.
Agreed.
Not the words that they write, I think it's the world building.
Yeah.
It's the world building that they create in their written work that I kind of go, oh, wow, I think I need to be that descriptive. Or, oh, wow, I like the way that they're actually, their quirkiness, or their, I think I might take that out for a spin next time. So I have grown as an author simply by, reading a variety of authors. And I think that's something that, if someone is a writer but doesn't read, I find that they almost get stuck. It's like they don't have they're not getting the experience of all these different authors and the way that they actually write. And I don't know how, when I read, it turns into a movie in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah, I step out of the world when I read. It's just like, I go right into the book and it's playing in my head, and I'm there.
I'm there, exactly. Yeah. And that's the kind of experience that I look for when I write. So I picture it in my head as to what these people are doing and what they're saying and everything. And that's where I then put it down on paper. And I can then, and I've even sat there and laughed at my own writing, which is
I've cried.
Really? That is funny. Yeah.
Have you surprised yourself when you've written, either of you?
I have.
Yes.
The one that I've put into Rituals and Runes, it has a quirkiness that I have never used in my writing before.
Oh.
I absolutely loved it. I really did enjoy writing it because it was so different. Because there's so many different entities and characters in there. And some of them are quite smart-mouthed.
Smirky.
It's like it's just this accidental witch. So, she wasn't a witch when she went to sleep, but she woke up a witch. So
Damn.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's, I'm looking at using that as a first. I've decided that I'm going to make that a first in a series.
Awesome.
So they're going to be standalones, but
Mm-hmm.
they and I'm looking at putting the second one, which will be a standalone as well, but I'm looking at putting that into another one of Gina's, which is a Christmas one.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
So they'll be linked, but they won't be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's like all my fractured fairy tales. I've got, one in one of the Shifters Unleashed ones, and then and the other one in this one. So
nice.
And then my 10th one, the last one I've written or I'm writing, is coming out on October 17th. So
awesome.
Nice.
Oh yeah, that would be me.
That's too funny.
I do that.
Yes, me too. Me too.
Absolutely.
Every next day after a marathon writing session. Oh my God, who the fuck wrote this? It's me. Damn it.
Yeah, next year she and I got to point it the right way. We'll be doing another trilogy together. We've
awesome.
written before, and it was so much fun. We want to do it again. So that's awesome. Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, and we got a good set of stories already. Not even outlined, but the idea is there. Like it was just like as soon as we saw the covers, yes, we're doing that.
Like, okay, I have it written down somewhere. Just have to find it.
Yeah. I still want you to do the covers first though, because it does provide some inspiration. We like rattled off just like no pauses, no nothing for like good 20 minutes. We're like, yeah, we got an idea. This is good. All just from the cover.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I that's what happened with the Shades of Night series. I saw the cover. I'm like, oh, I have to have it. I have to write this story. And it just rolled out. And then I I got the prequel cover. I saw the cover and I'm like, oh, I have to write, Robbie's story, not just her story. And then I saw another cover.
That happens. When the muses are actually working with you and not against you.
Yes, exactly. And I should be writing Mercury's in retrograde. Last time I was like,
I swear everything is like technology wise, it's all the little inconveniences. Like I walked up to a registry yesterday. It was at Sprouts, just had a little hand cart, just a couple of items. There was a guy standing in between the two carts or in between the two registers waiting to see which one was going to be first so he could pop over. And I'm like, whatever. He finally decides to choose one. I walk to the other one. Their terminal goes down. Little stupid inconveniences like that. It's like, oh, come on. I was even being nice and patient too. I didn't say anything.
So I know, Melissa, do you get your covers first or do you wait until your story is written?
I make my own covers. So I generally will go through I'll go through Shutterstock and I'll go through Dreams Time and I'll just look for, sort of things that stand out to me that I can, I've got this massive folder of like things that I've gone, oh yes, that can be a cover, that can be a cover, that I can use that. Yep. So I've got this massive folder with thousands of images in them. And so I generally sort of like I'll have an idea for a book and then I will go looking for the cover. And so I'll put the cover together as a mock and I'll look at it and I'll go, yeah, I think that's the one. 9 times out of 10, I will go with that as the finished product. And only rarely I'll change, I might change like the lettering or something like that at the last minute. But it's usually how I run, like I do my cover up within the first chapter or two.
Okay.
So, and then I put it in a folder so that I've got the book and the chapter, the cover and the chapters together, so that I can work on it as I go. So it helps me to remember what the
I've done
story
it both ways, and then the last couple of years I've been amassing that big thing.
Yeah.
You need to show off the covers
And I
again.
have all the ideas of them. It's just okay. Now I've got to put them in order of what sparks me.
Yeah.
Because I've written things, and you're in the middle of it, Katie. You haven't finished that last book of the Agents of Assets series because you're just
Two books. Last 2 books.
2 books. Oh, okay.
Don't count on me to finish that one. There is a block there for some reason, and it is not lifting. So I just need to palette cleanser. Start with something new.
Yep. So yeah. And Nicole, you said you hired somebody for your.
Yeah, I would eventually like to learn to do my own covers, but right now I just haven't learned that yet. So I ended up, some of my authors that I'm in the Enchanted anthologies with suggested a few cover artists that they use. So I went with a woman named Emily. She does Emily's World of Design. And me, I'm kind of a little bit of a perfectionist. So it's like I'll have in my head how I want like the cover to look, how I have an idea. So she's been really good so far. Like I'll send her like Google images of like what I'm thinking, like, oh, I want this here. And then she's able to put it all together using her, inventory of designs she has. And it always comes out looking really good so far. So yes, that's pretty much how I've been doing it. When I have the idea for the story and I've started the story, I'll design the cover. I would love to have a lovely collection like you do, Jane, eventually at some point. But right now it's just been book to book. When I have the book, I get the cover and then just move forward from there.
Yeah, and I don't plot. I can't plot.
No, I'm a pantser.
I can't because it takes the joy out of writing.
Yeah.
I can do bullet points, but
I agree. I do bullet points as in like chapter kind of bullet points.
Yeah.
Just so that I know that I'm staying on track, but I cannot plot. It's like what happens in my head happens at that time.
Yeah.
I don't even know what really plotting means when they talk about how you're a plotter. I mean, I kind of do what you guys do. I just mostly just put bullet points just so I have a direction. Most of the time I just kind of sit and just let my brain tell the story and like my characters speak to me and I tell the story. But when I know that I'm like going to be writing at the end of the day and, I've had a long day between work and going to the gym and I'm going to be half tired, I really do try to like put down bullet points and be like, okay, I need to write this scene, just to get an idea. And then I just kind of let my mind take over. So I don't really know what like plotting is supposed to be, but that's how I plot. It's just like bullet points. Like it's like this scene, this scene, this scene, this scene. And then I go into detail in my own mind.
And you write the way that is most comfortable for you. This is a little bit light, but basically if you're plotting, you would have all of this drafted out ahead of the book.
That looks like a lot.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I can't.
That plotting thing can actually, it gives me anxiety.
I was getting a little bit anxious looking at that.
It's like, oh no, I just can't. No, I'm just going to walk away because that's just too much to deal with. I
have one that I took a course for plotting. I have an entire book plotted, but I just don't have the spark in me anymore. I start with a beginning or an end, and I go from there. I either go backwards or forward. So
I also find that like if I'm out somewhere, say if I've got a doctor's appointment and I happen to have this idea that pops into my head, I will make a note of it in my notes and then I will work it into the story at some point. So I don't lose that amazing moment in the book. It's like I'll have it on paper so that I can just copy paste it in and work it into the story depending on what's happening and whereabouts in what chapter it needs to happen. But and I end up with probably I might end up with like 4 or 5 different lots of that, but they always seem to work into the story at some stage because I like that portion so much that I need to make it work in with that chapter and it falls into place. Very rarely gets left out. I might change a word or two, but that's pretty much about as plotted as I get.
I
No, I don't even do that. It doesn't even look like that. Mine's just like a notebook page with like pen, like dots, like, okay, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen, like one sentence each. Is so not nice like that at all. It's a mess. It's a hot mess.
Someone needs to die. That's my note.
That's it.
Someone needs to
Milk,
die.
eggs, cheese, kill the dragon, go home.
Yes. They need to go to a party. Somebody needs to do this. Somebody needs to die.
Yeah.
That's why I do the to-do list. That's it.
Right.
Check it off and we're done. We're good.
And wow.
I was lucky enough to meet last name Smith. Can't remember her her full name. Susan Smith. That's it. She's both a USA Today bestseller and a New York Times bestseller.
Mm-hmm.
And I met her at a Brisbane convention that we did.
Mm-hmm.
And she, because we had questions, we were only new at the time, you know, sort of like, and it was the first book signing that we'd done. So we asked her a few questions about, you know, how did she get to the New York Times and how did she get to USA Today? She managed to reach USA Today writing short stories and novels and anthologies. So she turned around and said, anyone who tells you that you can't make the USA Today's, you know, list by writing short stories, it's not true. There's that many people out there that want that short, quick read because they're too busy for that 300-page, you know, and up 700-page book. Like who's got the time to read Lord of the Rings? You know, like I mean, what was it? It was like 700 pages or something.
Right.
And so there's a market out there. So I know that there's information on word counts as to, you know, what you have to word count to get to these lists and all the rest of it. It's like you basically just have to focus on writing well.
Yes.
Writing in a genre that's, you know, got a large audience who are forever craving that new author, new book, you know, like, and you will find that you get there. It's not based on word count. That's what she said. She said it's not based on word count. It's just on how good your story is.
Yeah.
So, and she does her paperbacks. We were really, they're quite adorable. I don't think I've got one handy, but they are like really small.
Okay.
Really tiny, like a pocket book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I do like that size.
Does like that 4.5 inch by something.
Okay.
And she does those for the book signings. So
easier to pack.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I mean, she came from America over here to do, and she travels the world doing book tours. So it's something that she gets done through her publisher, which I'm not sure who that is, but she's indie, or she was indie at the time. But she basically said, you know, like, if you want to write, then write a story that you've never read before. And she said, and publish it. So if you are looking to if you're looking to get into the industry, then don't be shy. It's worth a chance. I look at some of the authors that are my favorite authors, and I look at their houses and I look at everything. I'm like, wow, like these guys are making really good money. They do really well, but they're making good money. So it's anyone can do it. You know,
Jump
it's
in feet first. I like the don't be shy though, because the community is where it's at. You've got to find your people, learn what you can, and just keep on writing.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's a great note.
Right? I know. We're ending on inspiration today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Right. Well, one more time though, before we head out, let me grab the cover of the book again, because it's next week, right?
Yes.
October 4th. Yes.
That
October 4th.
beautiful book
Yeah.
will be released.
It is a beautiful cover.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
It
it's
is
gorgeous.
beautiful.
And it has 30 stories. 30 stories,
Wow.
people, and it's for 99 cents right now.
What
Yeah.
a
That
bargain.
is not going to last longer than release week.
Link in
Mhm.
the show notes
Yes.
below if you want to grab that. Yeah, 99 cents. Why wouldn't you? I mean,
Right,
Absolutely.
exactly. You can discover, 30 other authors, 30
Mhm.
authors you may not even know, and find your next favorite author.
that's
So-
right. Thank you to our lovely audience who's been participating in the
Thank you.
chat. We love
Yeah.
you guys, especially our regulars who come by every week and show us some love.
Yeah.
You guys were wonderful guests. You are welcome back anytime. Feel free to
Yes.
just
Thank you.
shoot us a message. Let us know when you've got something new to talk about, a new book release.
Yes.
Nicole, congratulations on yours. We'll get you back on to talk about
Thank
it once it's
you. I would love
And-
that.
For the rest of you guys, we're going to be back next week,
here,
but we're
yeah.
off in October, it looks like.
Yes.
So
unless,
we will-
unless we, decide, let's do a fun,
We'll
astrology
see, but
show. Let's
for
let's
now-
see how the stars are aligning.
October will be dark for right now,
Yes.
unless we find something else to do. But you guys, thank you for always hanging out with us. We will be back. We will bring some more authors back to introduce you to.
Mhm.
And as always, we'll have a wonderful time doing it. See you till
Thank you for having us.
All right. Thanks. Bye.